Another potential big injury to the Dolphins secondary, this time to the safety room. Where do the Miami Dolphins go from here? Where should they go from here? Regarding the safety room, we will discuss that in depth. The pads came on. Kenneth Grant shined. Jonas Ioannidis was showing his physicality, and so much more happened. Achane showing that explosiveness, and Zach Wilson had arguably his best day of camp thus far. We will discuss everything under the sun. Plus, we've got a bunch of highlights from camp today too. So keep it locked in. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, let's get into this one.
Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open, touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again! Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one as we had an eventful day at Miami Dolphins camp. The 7th day and the 6th practice so far. Yep, I count the day they report as the first day of camp. Who wouldn't? So we're going to discuss it all. I see Ian Baller. He's in the chat right now, and he's trying to drop some firsthand knowledge because he was out there today. And he says Dylan and Davis was seeing first-team reps with others while Iffy is banged up. But we got great safety depth. We'll see. We're going to find out. But we're going to talk about that in depth here. Don't worry. We're going to talk about that in depth. Shout out to everyone in the chat right now. And, yo, listen, hey. Shout out to Kevin Williams. I'm going to see you, all right, at training camp. I'm sure, Kevin, all right? I'll be down there 19th, 20th, and 21st at camp. All right, shout out to Pro Special for dropping by. Sam Peluso, Michael Lombardo, Dylan. How big is his injury? I mean, I got a bad feeling about this. Shout out to Ian Baller, Selbo Live, Tyler, Arcia, 99, Darth Logan, Jeff Fremont, Kurok, 1972. I always think of that game, Like, whenever I see Kurok, 1972, I always think of that old N64 game. Zoboy Fresh, Darth Logan, the homie Fox, what's going on? John Fiorino, Wayne D, how's it going, everyone in the chat? Yeah, man. Can't wait either, Kevin. It's gonna be good times. All right, so we got quite a bit to talk about right now. We're gonna get into it without much. Ball God 230, how are you? Salute to you, sir. First, a couple things I wanted to talk about. Man, the injuries are stacking up across the league today, huh? I mean, Xavier Worthy apparently got shaken up today at practice. Bills rookie cornerback Maxwell Harrison, he's got his knee getting checked out. Malik Neighbors left practice, but he's got some kind of shoulder injury. Christian Gonzalez, he didn't practice today. I mean, the injuries are just stacking up. I mean, we know where this is all heading. And then, apparently big injury, Martin Emerson for the Browns, another cornerback. He got carted off today. They are stacking up around the league right now, and you know what this means. We all know where this is heading, to a shortened. I mean, I could see them shortening all this for sure. So it's Hollywood Brown got hurt after Worthy. Now Worthy did come back, I think, but it's just the injuries are just stacking up across the league right now, and a lot of them are big big injuries. So, man, wishing well to all those guys. I mean, the Cowboys lost Tyler Guyton yesterday, right? To a bone fracture. They thought it was going to be a torn ACL, but it ended up being, man, best wishes, prayers up to all of those that are hurt and going through it right now in training camp. Wishing you all a speedy recovery. You know, I'm one of those people that believe in you want to see the best of the best on the field. You don't want to see third and fourth, string guys out there having to take starter snaps, whether that's affecting your team directly or you're facing a team that's dealing with that situation. You want, just like you want to see the best available for your own team, you want to beat the best available for every other team, so there ain't no questions left when it's all said and done, right? So, interesting stuff. And I mean, did you guys see the money Courtland Sutton got yesterday? 4 years, $92 million. Kind of nuts, right? Well, I know Terry McLaurin right now, he's holding out for that serious money in Washington. But I mean, man, Courtland Sutton getting paid over there. I mean, $23 million a year for Courtland Sutton. You know, let's be honest here. He comes here, he's a 3, just saying. So, anyways, unless, Tyreek goes. So, yeah, the Waddle money. Waddle's better than Courtland Sutton. I think we can all pretty much agree with that. I saw people, freaking out about, I got to address this because I see people like talking about, ESPN Cleveland is doing what the Dolphins media did back into his early years, right? Remember when they were tracking the touchdowns in the yard and even calculating his passer rating in a training camp? Well, similar stuff is going on in Cleveland right now with Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett's hurt right now, right? Similar things are going on right now where they're tracking completions, touchdowns, interceptions. And yesterday, everyone was like, oh, Sanders was 9 for 9. He was the only one who threw touchdowns. Guys, you got to understand the context of the situation. You don't even got to talk to people. Go search it. You can find it yourself. Sanders is working with the 3s and the 4s. And yeah, he started to get a little bit more work in because Kenny Pickett went down. But up until Kenny Pickett went down, he was working mainly with the 4s, and against 4s and 3s. So, I really, Dillon Gabriel has been working, with the higher depth charted players on both sides of the ball. Joe Flacco seems like he's probably going to be the starter. I know they were leaning Kenny Pickett, but if Kenny Pickett is hurt, I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But if he's hurt, but this is where Shedeur, I'm going to be, and this is me being objective about the situation, by the way, because I don't care. This is where Shedeur is going to have his chance to actually separate and make it no questions asked. He needs to ball out in the preseason games. He needs to put it on tape. That's what he needs to do. If Shedeur Sanders puts it on tape in the preseason games, that's going to be a totally different conversation than beating 3s and 4s in training camp. You'd go, even if you beat, listen, what do you think's better? Beating 3s in training camp, meaningless, in 11-11s, 7-on-7s, whatever, or when the lights come on and you've got cameras rolling? You got much more of an argument. So that's where I see Shedeur's chance to really leap up this leap up this depth chart and really make it a question in Cleveland, to me, is going to be in the preseason games. So that's where his chance. He's been up and down from what I've heard too. He's been good, but he's been up and down. So you need to watch. He needs to go ball out in the preseason games. If he goes balls out in the preseason games, because of how open that competition is, yeah, he's going to get extended looks. And plus, putting it on tape, man. I mean, that's fans, scouts, whoever you want to name. You can't deny the tape when it's out. So, my advice to Shedeur, if I was in his camp, was, don't even worry. Just go do your thing in camp. Don't worry about them tracking stats. Just do your thing. But when those lights come on, go show them why you should have been like, let's be real. I would have drafted him before Dylan Gabriel, but I mean, that's just me. So, I think that was kind of a slap in the face. I didn't have him going like as deep as he went. He should have went in the first 3 rounds, 4 max. So to me, it's just, hey, go do your thing when the lights turn on. When the lights turn on and they're at their brightest, you do your thing. You are going to create a controversy, and that's what you want to do if you're in this camp. So we'll see what happens with Shedeur. But, I mean, we've been down this road of tracking stats. Who cares in training camp? You know what I mean? Like, let's be real here. Jakeem Grant used to be a training camp warrior and a workout warrior, and then what happened? I'm just saying. So, training camp don't matter, all right? And we've seen guys at that position who can tear it up in camp. Matt Moore could tear it up in camp. And then how hit or miss was he when the actual time happened, when his number was called, right? And his time came. So you gotta relax on camp. We've seen these players who just ball out in camp, and then we wonder why they don't make the team. Tanner Connor, perfect example. So just go shine when the lights come on. That's what I'd be telling Shedeur if he wants to go win that battle. So, because I don't care. I don't have a horse in the race. If I was the Cleveland Browns, the battle to me would be between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Why am I wasting my time with Joe Flacco? The problem is, I keep telling you guys, the politics of this game. We talk about Zach Wilson. Why I think Quinn Ewers, he didn't have a very good day today compared to his previous days. The reason why he'll never get a fair shot this year against Zach Wilson is because of the guaranteed money they're giving Zach. The politics. Kenny Pickett, they traded for him. The politics, right? Like, to me, I would be trying to see if someone wants Kenny Pickett. I'd be trying to, I'm not going to get back what I traded for him, cool. Or I'd be cutting Joe Flacco. And I'd be going with whoever wins between Gabriel and Sanders. Whoever wins, you can be my starter. Let's see what we got in year 1. And Kenny Pickett can be the backup, can be the QB2. And the loser of that can fall to QB3 and develop. That's how I'd play that situation. Because I know their owner, Haslam, today, he was being asked specifically about their interest in Arch Manning. So, I don't, like, you're already fielding those kind of questions. You might as well figure out what you got. I'd be starting Gabriel or Sanders. I wouldn't even be dealing with Joe Flacco. I'm sorry. I would be starting Shedeur or Gabriel. Why waste the time? And if you really want, let's say you start Gabriel and he doesn't do good in the first 6, 7, 8 games. Okay, I gave you half a season. Next half, Shedeur, you got it. Or flip. If Shedeur starts it, you give him the first 8 games. If he doesn't perform, give the second half of the season to Dylan Gabriel and see what you got. And then re-enter the draft. If they suck and and you only win 2 games, re-enter the draft and go get one of these quarterbacks. This is a great class. People have heard me, right? Since what? The end of the draft, since the beginning of May, I've been saying on this channel, give me Garrett Nussmeier or Lenore Sellers, right? If Lenore Sellers takes that big leap. But there's other kids I like here. I really like Sam Levitt. You got Mendoza coming out potentially too. I think teams are going to be really high in Kate Klubnik. You got a potentially really, really good quarterback class coming up here. That's why I've said, hey, if we deal with injuries again at the quarterback position, i.e. Tua, and everything starts to fall apart, and, I mean, you got to see what you got. You got to give Anthony Weaver some interim time if things are falling apart by midseason, which I don't think they will be. I'm just covering my bases here. I don't think they will be, but unless an injury happens to Tua. If an injury happens to Tua, then yeah, it could get bad. And I'd be playing whichever quarterback between Ewers and Wilson gives me least chance to win, and I'd just be going and getting that quarterback pick. Seriously. And then now you're in a position where, okay, you're still kind of locked into Tua for 2026. Cool. But I've spent a high capital first round pick on a quarterback where it's his job in 2027, no matter what, to It's your job in 2026 to figure out how long this guy's going to be developing behind you, or if he's going to have to start earlier than that. But like I said, I don't think we're going to be in that position. If Tua stays healthy, we won't be in that position. We won't. I don't think so. I'm actually pretty sure we won't. But if Tua doesn't stay healthy again, I mean, what can you say from his biggest fan to his least, his from his biggest fan to his biggest hater? You'd all probably pretty much have to come in agreement objectively that how long are we going to keep doing this? 2023 was that flicker of hope. He stayed healthy for a full season. We were, people forget, yeah, we lost to the Ravens handedly, but we were in the race for the AFC, number one spot in the AFC, and he was leading the league. He was in the MVP conversation that late in the season. So we've seen what he's capable of if he stays healthy. Now, he needs to win a little bit more. In January, he actually has a winning record in December. January, he needs to start winning more. He's like 1-4, 1-3 in January. He needs to start winning more. When that matters, okay? That's the end of it. End of this. We've all come to that agreement. So we'll see what happens this year. But listen, if he stays healthy, and if there's some butts for candies and nuts, but I mean, you could say this for every team, right? Like Joe Burrow, again, he's just as big of an injury history as Tua Tagovailoa. What do you think they're saying over there in Cincinnati? If he stays healthy, right? But it goes deeper with us. If Austin Jackson stays healthy, if James Daniels continues to look good, and he sounds like, I'm going to get eyes on him in August. It sounds like he's the player prior to his Achilles injury, which is what we wanted. If he stays healthy, if Patrick Paul continues to look competent, and we keep hearing the good things we're hearing, and they translate into good play this season, if that offensive line can stay healthy, intact, and perform, this team could do some damage here. And if Tua stays healthy behind that line, this team could do some serious damage. Because honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think the wheels fall off the way they did in 2023 if Isaiah Wynn and Connor Williams stay healthy the whole duration of that season and into the playoffs. I don't believe that at all. I mean, you look at it, Isaiah Wynn. Raheem Mostert didn't have a 100-plus yard rushing game after Isaiah Wynn went down. We all know what happened when Connor Williams went down, too. We don't got to talk about Liam Eichenberg much more on this channel. So I think if you can get that offensive line intact, and really the guy I'm worried about the most is Austin Jackson, because he's hurt more than Tua. Him and Jalen Phillips are probably the most hurt players of the Flores-McDaniel regime. Let's be real here. And then you could have the Tua discussion as like 3 behind them, right? So we got, and I don't think they're going to, even if Jalen Phillips balls out, he better hope Chop don't ball out and Grayson Murphy turn into something, because I don't know if they'll pay him. If Jalen Phillips balls out and stays healthy this year in a contract year, after what just went down with Tua, I don't know if they'll pay him, because he can be asking for $20+ million. If TJ Watt and Myles Garrett are going to get $40+ million a year, what do you think Jalen Phillips is going to ask for? If he stays healthy this year and gets like 12.5 sacks, what do you think he's going to ask for? Even if you have your injury history, that's a $20+ million player. I don't see them making that investment. I would see like even the franchise tag. I don't even know if they'd hit him with the franchise tag. I just don't. Because that's a lot, and then he gets hurt, and that money's guaranteed. Like that, because that projected franchise tag is going to be high next year. It's what, 26 million? 26.5 million? Pfft. No way. So let's just hope everyone stays healthy, man. That offensive line stays healthy and Tua stays healthy. I've told you this. I'll tell you this. We're cooking. Jalen Wright's going to have a big year. Achane's going to have a big year. I think Tyreek is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. So will Jalen Waddle. It's been clear all offseason. Tua and Jalen want to establish he can be a number one. Let's go. Let's go, man. I think we can. And listen, we'll talk about the secondary here. But if they can patch together some semblance of a decent to good secondary, our defense is going to be really good too, because our front seven could be one of the better ones of this season. So, shout out to Anthony Wallace. He came through and he donates $9.99. He said Sanders family made it clear they didn't want to go to Cleveland. Now only that team wants him, and he's fourth string after being perimeter's top 10. Okay, clearly being taught a lesson, if you ask me. Yeah, there was, now we have proof that the NFLPA and the NFL collude together, based off the Lamar Jackson stuff. If you came to me and said there was collusion by owners to send a message to Sanders, I wouldn't be in the NFLPA. You wouldn't, and even coaches, you wouldn't shock me. You wouldn't color me shocked. All right. So I don't know, crazy. So let's get into training camp today. We're gonna not waste very much time here. We're gonna hop right into it. Listen, before we do, I do got to shout out the sponsor of today's video. Of course, that is Clean the World. Clean the World works with over 8,300 hospitality partners to divert their soap bars, plastic amenities from landfills, and recycle the collected soap into new bars. By doing so, Clean the World helps reduce world pollution, save water, and decrease the carbon footprint of thousands of hotels globally, while helping improve the lives of women, children, and communities. Since it was established in 2009, Clean the World has distributed over 80 million bars of soap. The organization has also diverted 9 million pounds of plastic amenity bottles and over 29 million pounds of total waste from landfills, and helped Clean the World Foundation provide an estimated 17 billion individual hand washes to those in need across the globe. By recycling soap and other discarded hygiene products, Clean the World saves lives with items that traditionally end up in landfills. You can donate or even volunteer to help Clean the World at cleantheworld.org, cleantheworld.org. Listen, I caught myself. Instead of pollution, I was going to say population. People are going to look at it as, what is this, some Bill Gates funded organization? So it's not. Shout out to Sean Seipler, one of the best people in this community, and one of my good friends in this community, man. I'm telling you, not many people are better than that man right there, and not many people are trying to change the world like that man there. So go support Clean the World, okay? Please, if there's any sponsor you're going to, make sure it's Clean the World. So let's get into everything from today. Let's start off with Travis Wingfield, and let's get into what he observed at practice today. So starting off here, he said Tyreek looks so much more comfortable catching the football this year. Felt he fought the ball a lot last year. And then Travis says, how could he not with a banged up Rich? Now, Kenneth Grant is taking dudes for rides and one-on-ones. Travis saw him take Jonah, who might be the hardest dude on the team to move, and walked him back several yards. Conversely, nobody has gotten an inch on Patrick Paul. Pure stone walling. My God, isn't that just... Patrick Paul, that's music to my ears. Jonah, we know what he is. Kenneth Grant, let's go. Right on cue, Jonah, Stonewalls, Kenneth Grant. The two top rookie picks have been battling all camp. Love to hear that. Paul just completely stood Bradley Chubb up. Chubb tried to redirect spin but couldn't escape the jaws, which was the hand clamp of Paul. Confidence in our young LT just continues to grow with a fantastic first week. Dolphins DBs have a really good one-on-one period. Minka, Kendall Sheffield, Jason Marfeld Jr. all had pass breakups, but lots of sticky coverage. Tua hit some window back shoulder throws. Ewers had a deep dime to Izakama working on Isaiah Johnson. Now Paul gets Chop, who made quick work of two previous reps against Borum and Hayes, and it's the same result. Pretty rare to pitch a shutout as an O-line in these 1v1s, but Paul did it today. Realizing that Travis hadn't tweeted much about James Daniels, he said he thinks that it's because he falls into the category of, quote, if you don't talk about him, it's a good thing. So he goes on to say he's been super solid at camp, no glaring issues. Absolutely love to hear that, baby. This interior, let's go. Let's go, man. Paul picks it up right up in team drills on the first play. He reaches Willie Gay and gets enough to give Achane the corner. Nice run going wide. Rare misfire from Tua. Reek got separation to the corner and Tua's high and behind. Nearly a circus one-handed catch, but Minka got over in time to finish the breakup. Willie Gay beats a block and greets the back at the point of attack. Big collision. Stood Madison straight up. Willie had some kind of camp. This period has been physical, downhill, smash mouth run session. Madison moves the pile, this time for an extra 3 yards. Been a bit of a theme without the pads, and now they're on. We're seeing it play out in more of a live fashion. Tua reads front side, comes back side, and drills one to Waddle. Minka looked like he had a beat on it, but Tua locates it high and away for Waddle, who makes a leaping, spinning catch. That's some fun football. I got the highlight for that when we get into the clips here, okay? So don't worry, we got that highlight. James Daniels hits a combo, and Austin seals the front side for a big Achane run. Hit the second level with a head of steam, and we know he can make house calls when he does that. Love it. Overload pressure forces Tua to his left, and he's got Waddle, but misses. Tua's placement not at his usual level today. Willie Gay's got a sack from depth. He beat Brunskill inside with a little hezzy step for a sack. So that's another sack and tackle for a loss already from Willie. Big play, Willie Gay. Now the line holds up against a pressure look. Wilson has all day and drills a 20-yard in-breaker to Eric Izakama. Wilson tries one to the outside but to Eskridge, but Ethan Bonner has a really nice hip flip and undercut for the breakup. Cool concept to get Waddle matched up on a backer. Tua finds him, and he had all sorts of daylight after a catch of about 7. Waddle has been one of the stars of camp. Looks fast, catches everything. Oh, baby, let's go. Jalen's having a year. I've been saying all offseason that Jalen year's coming, and it's going to smack, baby. Chop closes the period with a bull rush on Jackson that gets him into Tua. Forces the play to stop dead in its tracks. Chop has added to his arsenal and looks like a straight up problem. Oh, be still my beating heart for my Chop. Oh my God. Oh, I remember all of you that hated that pick. Don't let, man. Oh man, we're going to talk about that. Don't worry. Ashtyn Davis was banged up on that last play. This battle continued into team. A lot of straining between those two trying to gain an inch. And he's talking about Jonah and Kenny. The top 2 rookie picks have been battling all camp. Tajay Washington uncovers a quick hitter inside from Wilson and outruns the entire defense until they catch up. About 50 yards down the field was a 3rd and 3 conversion. Sealer instant penetration, working on Savaianaya, pairs with Sheffield coming off the corner for a sack on Tua. Zeke Biggers with a pass rush win. He pulls up short of the QB, and Wilson takes the time to thread a nice throw downfield to Tariq Black. Willie Gay has another sack, wins with a pass rush right down the middle. Reek and Waddle remove the top of the defense, and Alec Ingold is all alone down the sideline for a catch and run of 25 to 30 yards from Tua. Tua hitches up and finds Achane, who drew Phillips, who drew Chubb in coverage. It was up to Minka in wide open space to get Achane down to prevent a 60-yard touchdown. It's good for at least 40 either way. Jordan Brooks comes this time and gets in for a sack on Tua. With the edge presence this team has, those quick twitch linebackers can really feast, rushing the A and the B gaps. Just as he's talking with other reporters about how good Madison has looked, hammering the ball inside, he finds the lane and takes it all the way. He's seeing it, hitting it, and getting behind his pads. He's had a nice camp, and his best day occurs when the pads come on. Nice job getting it out to Baldwin with Willie Gay coming in for another pass rush win, but Ewers got it out in time. Minka erases so many shot plays. A few times today, Tua has come off a play pass looking to get it to one of the race cars downfield, but Minkah is there. Best individual play at camp. Tua throws it a vertical fastball to Waddle from 30 yards out. Waddle had a step on Bonner. Ball was long. He makes a full extension, diving reminiscent of Ken Griffey Jr. What a play. Matt Dickerson and Quentin Bell had been solid against the run today. They both win and stack up a Jalen Wright carry. Zach rips one downfield between two defenders to Pharaoh Brown, who high points it and hangs on through contact. Willie Gay, a run down win from backside, came in untouched and whacked Wright when he came and tried to bend it back. Another good edge by Quentin Bell forced the cutback. So, I mean, that what can you say? I mean, let's talk about this first. Chop Robinson. Listen, I got a video coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. He is my breakout candidate of the year. And I got a video breaking some things down on him that I've been working on. And listen, you know, the fact that I'm hearing he's adding to his arsenal and Travis can already see that in camp, that is crazy to me. Like, that is absolutely nuts to me. Like, we were already seeing him mix up that pass rush game plan and bag of tricks in the second half of the season, right? Like, loves the rip, wins with the rip, draws holds and calls that should be holds with the rip. But, you know, he was mixing that stuff up with, you know, ending with the rip through. So, you know, I just think this kid, man, Anthony Weaver being here for a few years has been a blessing. Let me just say that much. So, Chop, you know, I agree with what Jalen Phillips said. I think you're looking at a future defensive player of the year. I think this guy is going to be one of the NFL's premier pass rushers. And like I said, I remember all of you that were calling him a bust in the first 6 weeks. I remember all of you that hated that pick when it happened. I'm sorry, man. That was the right pick. Willie Gay. I mean, big play, Willie Gay. What can you say about this kid that hasn't been said already? I mean, you know, sorry, this man. He's just. We loved the pick on this channel when they signed him. We loved the addition. I've been as bold as saying he's going to threaten Tyrell Dodson for that linebacker 2 spot. And the way this guy's playing, how can you not? They're going to try and get this guy on the field as much as possible. This is unbelievable stuff. Like, I love what we are hearing about Willie Gay. This guy is consistently showing up. He's easily one of the best at practice, at training camp so far, at mandatory minicamp so far. Like, it's been just phenomenal. You know, like, I'm so impressed by where this guy is at. Willie Gay has been a legitimate impact player so far with every chance he's been given. So, I'm loving what we're hearing. So I can't wait to get out there. He's one of those players I can't wait when I get out there in August. I can't wait to see. Shout out to Selbo. He says, I know this is off topic, but we need an Anthony Fasano type of tight end in my opinion. Brother, I think that's what they thought they could get out of Julian Hill. I think that's what they thought they could get out of a Julian Hill. I honestly do, man. And it just hasn't worked out. Now, at least today we didn't hear any Julian Hill pre-snap penalties or anything, right? So, positive, I guess, you know. All right, this is what the Miami Herald had witnessed today at camp between their trio of reporters. So at 9:10, Chop Robinson was wearing the orange jersey bestowed on the standout from the previous day's practice. Robinson had at least one sack during Monday's session. The Dolphins are wearing pads for the first time in training camp. Several players weren't spotted during stretching. Cornerback Kader Kohu, BJ Adams, Dante Trader, Daquan Jackson, Jalen Connors, and Baron Matos. Storm Duck returned after missing Monday's session. Aaron Brewer continues to work on the side. Darren Waller remains on the PUP list. Ifeatu Melifonwu remains on the non-injury list, but McDaniel has suggested he'll be back sooner than later. At 9:20 a.m., Tua Tagovailoa had his first fumbled snap of training camp. Andrew Meyer, who has had a solid camp, was the center. On Tuesday, rookie center Addison West and quarterback Quinn Ewers had 2 snaps that went awry as well. Liam Eichenberg is wearing a compression sleeve on his left leg. He opened training camp on the physically unable to perform list, and McDaniel has been non-committal about whether he'll be ready for the start of the season. Brunskill has stepped in as the Dolphins' top backup at guard and center. Look at that. Keon Smith has become an option as backup guard as well. In one-on-one drills, Jason Marshall had a nice pass breakup after being beaten a few times on Monday. Ewers lofted a 45-yard pass to Tariq Black, who dropped in the end zone. Ethan Robertson was beaten on the play. AJ Henning, one of the team's 4 undrafted rookie receivers, had a nice catch from Tua, then caught 2 more passes during those drills. Ewers had a nifty throw to Waddle for 15 yards in one of those drills. Isaiah Johnson had good coverage on an Izakama pass. Tajay Washington had a drop over the middle, and Tagovailoa threw a 40-yard touchdown pass to Eric Izakama, beating Isaiah Johnson. Among standouts in one-on-one drills, matching defensive players with offensive line, was Kenneth Grant. His strength is obvious, though Jonas Avai did a good job with him on one sequence. Chop Robinson, who easily maneuvered past Ryan Hayes. Mo Kamara, who beat Larry Borum. And left tackle Patrick Paul thought he held a Bradley Chubb on one play. Borum, the number 3 tackle, struggled badly. Dude, I heard he got beat on every rep today. I heard Borum got beat on every single rep today in one-on-ones. I've heard he's been terrible. During 11-11 drills, I told you, is Jack Driscoll all over again. During 11-11 drills, Tagovailoa was off target on a 20-yard downfield throw to Tyreek Hill, with Minkah Fitzpatrick providing stout coverage. Linebacker Jordan Brooks stopped Devon Achane in the backfield. There have been a bunch of tackles for a loss through 6 days of camp. More from the first set of 11-11 drills. Zach Wilson hit Nick Westbrook Achane, who slid to make a nice 25-yard catch. Wilson had a decent camp. Quentin Bell had a tackle for a loss on Alexander Mattison, who's had several chunk yardage gains through camp. Wilson hit tight end Farrell Brown for a 10-yard gain, and Willie Gay stopped Ollie Gordon on a tackle for a loss. Jalen Wright fumbled, and Mo Kamara recovered. Kamara has come on in recent days. That's good to hear. AJ Henning dropped a pass. Ethan Robinson offering tight coverage in the pass. Ben Stilley dropped Gordon after a short gain. Tagovailoa rifled a pass to Waddle for 10 yards. Achane had a big gain on a run up the middle. Bonner deflected a pass from Zach Wilson. Willie Gay nearly had another interception on a Wilson throw. Man, Willie keeps getting close to these picks, eh? Let's hope they just start coming in the season. Gay has been one of the stars of camp, but Wilson rebounded with a nice 20-yard throw to Eric Izakama. Channing Tindall had a nice pass deflection, at least a third good day of camp for Channing Tindall, which, yeah, we've been hearing him a lot recently. Theo Weiss Jr. had a 5-yard catch from Quinn Ewers. You know, out of the undrafted rookies, it seems like AJ Henning and Theo Weiss are making the most plays, and Andrew Armstrong has been very sporadic. Tua Tagovailoa, who was again very sharp, delivered a 10-yard pass to Jalen Waddle. Jalen Phillips and sacked Tagovailoa. Devon Achane had a 9-yard catch early in the second set of 11-11 drills. Zach Wilson had Tajay Washington for a 50-yard gain. This was Washington's signature play of camp as he works his way back from a lower leg injury that sidelined him his entire rookie year. Cornerback Kendall Sheffield had a sack on a blitz. Julian Hill caught a 10-yard pass from Tua, so there you go. Julian getting some work in with the ones. Zach Wilson showed great touch on a 15-yard throw to Tariq Black. Jordan Colbert and Willie Gay had good pressure on Wilson, who completed the pass anyways. Quinn Ewers delivered an 8-yard completion to Theo Weiss, who had an impressive 2 days in his bid to make the team as an undrafted rookie. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Melifonwu, and Davis are considered the top 3 safeties for the Dolphins, with Elijah Campbell also in the mix for playing time. Patrick McMorris and Dante Trader competing. Trader hasn't practiced since last week and is expected to miss at least another week with an undisclosed injury. Tagovailoa hit Devon Achane for a 40-yard catch. Linebacker Jordan Brooks sacked Tagovailoa. Brooks has had a very good camp. Linebacker Quentin Bell, who had a very good day, stopped Madison for a 2-yard gain. Wilson overthrew a pass on the sideline on a sideline pattern to Eric Izakama. KJ Britt had a sack. Alexander Madison had a 15-yard rush and at least his 10th chunk yardage run of camp. Undrafted rookie receiver Theo Weiss Jr. had an 8-yard catch. He's been the most productive of the rookie receivers. Yeah, I think it's going to be him or AJ Henning. Cornell Armstrong sacked Zach Wilson on the blitz. So look at this. We're sending a lot of secondary blitzes, huh? Jalen Waddle caught a 30-yard pass on Tua Tagovailoa with Ethan Bonner in coverage. Waddle has been highly productive in recent days. Farrell Brown had a 22-yard catch from Zach Wilson. Willie Gay had another run stop for a short gain. Gay has been disruptive menace throughout camp. Now, we got to get on this. This is the big one. The Dolphins lost safety Ashtyn Davis to what appeared to be a significant injury on Tuesday. Ashtyn Davis walked off the field with a severe limp, barely able to put pressure on his left foot. Several teammates, including Tua Tagovailoa, came over to comfort him. This team brought out the cart, but a severely hobbled Davis walked off it on his own. It appeared to be a non-contact injury. That's never good. That might be an Achilles. Davis later came back outside on crutches with a boot on his left foot. That is not good at all. So, Fitzpatrick, Malafonu, and Davis are considered the Dolphins' top 3 safeties, with Elijah Campbell also in the mix for playing time, and Patrick Morris and Dante Trader competing. But again, the other safeties are Jordan Colbert and undrafted rookie John Sanders Jr. That is not good. And this is where I stand on it. I mean, there are guys out there you could go make the move for. I mean, you could go make a legitimate move for a guy like Justin Simmons, who he might be too expensive though. Other guys that make sense that can give you perch as well as box flexibility. Marcus Williams, he's got scheme familiarity with Weaver from the Ravens. That makes a ton of sense. I've always been a fan of Von Bell. I would like Von Bell. That would make sense too. Marcus May, a guy who, if he's fully recovered from the accident he got into before he got to, I believe on his way to practice, he got into an accident last year and ended up ending his season. If Jordan Whitehead is fully recovered, I mean, this is a guy who's stout against the run. When you ask him to come up into the box, can make plays on the football. You know, Jordan Whitehead is another one that would intrigue me too. So, but I mean, you know, Marcus Williams probably does make the most sense, but Justin Simmons, Von Bell, Marcus May, and Jordan Whitehead are some other names that I'd be very interested in. And just add into the fray. Like, you got to ask yourself, are they going to be this aggressive? You know, are they going to be as aggressive trying to find a safety like they were filling that cornerback room up the last couple of days? You know, I think that's a legitimate question. So we'll see. You've got over $12 million in cap space, so sucks to hear about Ashtyn Davis though. Hoping it's something minor and he can get back, but it doesn't sound good, especially if it was non-contact. But I think those are some good names who are out there if you're interested in adding a safety to this room. I do think Justin Simmons might be too expensive though. He got, you know, I know his contract wasn't huge, but the majority of it was guaranteed last. What did he get, like $7 or $8 million, and like 6 of it was guaranteed last year for Atlanta? So, Jeff Fremont, should they extend Minka? No, wait until you see what you got after this year. So they gave him his guaranteed money for this year. You made him happy, you know. So the Sun Sentinel, this is what they had to say about camp and what was observed by David Frones and his compadres over there. The Dolphins ramped up the physicality for their first practice in pads, the 6th overall of training camp, Tuesday at Baptist Health Training Complex. You feel the heat, you feel the physicality of the game. It feels real. It's good to be out here in pads again. After Tua Tagovailoa earned the orange jersey for highlighted practice player of the day on Monday drills, second-year edge rusher Chop Robinson donned it Tuesday. O-line, D-line one-on-ones were a priority to watch at the first padded practice. Patrick Paul held up well against Robinson and kept Chubb in front of him twice, but one might have been holding. Robinson went right around Hayes. Zach Steeler went through Jonas Savaianaya at his left shoulder, but Savaianaya held up well against Kenneth Grant. Jalen Phillips was seen stood up initially by James Daniels, but then spun around him. Mo Kamara easily won a rep against Larry Borum, who also had another pass rush win against Obinia Easy. Alex Huntley went around Keon Smith. The young left side of the line between Paul and Savaianaya held up well in the team setting. There wasn't much pressure coming from the left side. Tagovailoa made a great throw with zip on it to Jalen Waddle on a skinny post. In a later team period, Tagovailoa had his backs getting open down the field as Coach Mike McDaniel worked in some wheel routes. Alec Ingold and Devon Achane were wide open for downfield connections. Tagovailoa nearly had an intermediate out-breaking connection with Tyreek Hill, much like what we'd seen between the two on Monday, but the throw was a little behind Hill and off of his hands, incomplete. The Dolphins' starting QB had a big blitz sent at him from his right. He rolled away from it and threw it away in the vicinity of Waddle. Robinson appeared to get a would-be sack on the feet of Tagovailoa. Kendall Sheffield also broke through on a blitz and appeared like he would have got to Tagovailoa if they were tackling to the ground, as Anthony Weaver got creative with his calls. Practice ended with a situational drill. Tagovailoa converted a 4th and 1 on a remarkable downfield connection to Waddle, taking the offense from 31 down to the 31 yard. From the 31 down to the 3-yard line. Interesting though that Miami ran on both 3rd and 4th and 1. Devon Achane had a big hole open for him through the middle of the first team line. Alexander Madison also showed bursts, breaking off a long run up the middle. Defenses do not want to see that powerful back coming downhill like that. Even if tackling to the ground, none of the defensive backs had a chance once he got rolling. Ashtyn Davis was hurt toward the end of early team period. He walked off the practice field under his own power, but with a heavy limp. He later reemerged on crutches and wearing a boot on his left foot. In wide receiver DB one-on-ones, Tyreek Hill won against Micah Fitzpatrick, coming back for a pass. Jalen Waddle had a couple of wins, short catch win against Kendall Sheffield. Izakama had a long touchdown pass over Isaiah Johnson. AJ Henning separated himself from Cornell Armstrong for a catch. Jason Marshall Jr. had a pass breakup guarding Izakama. When second and third teams got a situational drive, Zach Wilson found Farrell Brown for first down. Cornell Armstrong finished practice with an untouched sack of Wilson. Nick Westbrook, Achane, had a catch for a sizable gain from Wilson in 11s for a second consecutive practice. Wilson also hit Brown open to the outside off play action. Wilson made a downfield connection with Eric Izakama. Tajay Washington looks like he has speed, agility, and moves to put on defenders in the open field. He caught an intermediate crossing pass from Wilson and was escaping defenders. Wilson also made a fine connection with Tariq Black. Ethan Bonner made a diving pass breakup on the sideline on a pass from Wilson. AJ Henning had a drop and slammed to the ground, knowing he should have had it. Black also had a bad drop. Storm Druck was at practice today, but fellow cornerbacks Kader Kohu and BJ Adams were not present, along with Dante Trader Jr., tight end Jalen Connors, and Baron Matos. Aaron Brewer was still not dressed for Tuesday's practice as he gets healthy from a lower body soft tissue injury. Willie Gay, he was the stock-up player for the Sun Sentinel guys. He was a standout Tuesday and has been through the early portions of camp. Their stock down was AJ Henning, who had a drop and how he can't let opportunities pass him by, I think, which we could all agree with. So, not great news with the injuries stacking up, you know. We still don't know what exactly it is with Kader. BJ Adams going through concussion protocol. Dante Trader a week from returning. Sounds like it could be long-term for Ashtyn Davis. I mean, they are stacking up in that secondary in our thinnest spot. It's crazy right now. That defensive front is going to have to work some miracles and magic this year. Potentially, right? So I love hearing about the offensive line. James Daniels seems like he's doing really, really well. So I love hearing that. And what's interesting today is like Tua didn't have a day where he's been as sharp as the last, since training camp started really, and even through mandatory minicamp or whatever. But here's the deal. He's still not turning the ball over. I mean, he had the fumble, but it was a bad exchange, right, with Andrew Meyer or whatever, So he's not throwing interceptions. He's not forcing the ball. And like I said, I like how he's playing the plays through, right? That's fantastic. And I love how the pads come on. And Devon Achane's back to making explosive plays. And Alexander Madison may make me look like I got egg on my face because I wasn't too high on him, and I thought Ollie Gordon could potentially win that, but it was one of those battles, right? The RB3 battle was one of the top battles I highlighted before camp started on my top battles for training camp show. And so far, it looks like Alexander Madison is just the workhorse, and he's just really tough to bring down. and you don't want him coming downhill towards you through an open running lane, gaining some steam, because it's going to be choo-choo. And, you know, while Ollie Gordon has had a few fumbles, sounds like he's been kind of inconsistent. He's getting stood up a little bit more. So, man, maybe it's going to be the Madison, Wright, and Achane show after all. So, Achane did have a play today. He's had noise the last 2 days with Zach Wilson. So, but Alexander Madison looks like Alexander Madison is shutting me up. That's for sure. So shout out to him. All right. Now I got some training camp highlights for you guys as usual. We got about, you know, a little over 3 minutes, just under 3.5 minutes. All right. So let's get into this. And then I got something I want to go over from Peter Schrager. But this is from training camp today. These are the highlights. There's Chop getting warmed up in the white, in the all white with that orange. It looks fire. Some pad work. There's Madison right there, dropping the shoulder. Some one-on-one work. Nice breakup right there. So look at getting that edge. Probably wouldn't have went very far though. Let's be honest. Their defenders were right there. Even if you would have turned it. Little bootleg. Little oof. Just a little bit of an overshot by Tua there. Got to make that throw, Tua. Come on. Nice throw right here. Oof. A little bit of a stretch out, but nice completion. There's that boy Quinn Ewers. Just taking the short, take it underneath the sticks, but ball placement could be a little bit better. Looks like that wasn't hauled in too. Ewers again, just taking the underneath. Run through it. Run through it. It is chopped for this for sure. Ewers again, stepping up. Oof. Tight coverage. Broken up. But at least he's not forcing it downfield, you know? Not panicking, right? Tua right here. Ooh, there's that back shoulder right there to Waddle. Look at the placement. Here's another angle of it. Look at the placement where only Waddle can make this catch. I mean, this is beautiful stuff here by Tua. Look at this. Whoop. Oh, look at that. Come on. Look at that. And then here's Tua to Achane for that long gain that they discussed. And here's that big run by Madison, turning it up when those pads come on. Basically a home run. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, let's get back. All right, Zach Wilson steps up, moves. Ooh, hit him in the hands. Got to make that catch. Nice play. Nice throw by Zach Wilson on that last play. Looked good. Little run up that middle. Two again. All day, baby. And then this was Ashtyn Davis down on the field after his injury. Not great. Helmet comes off in frustration. Not great. Not great. Prayers up for Ashtyn. Two in there again. Sack. So that is what we got from the sixth practice of training camp thus far. Man, let's just keep getting better. I can't wait to get down there in a couple weeks. I can't wait. And Bahamas is just a teaser this weekend. So remember, they'll have practice tomorrow. They're off Thursday, but I'll be live with Neil. And then they're back Friday, and I'll be live Friday. And then I'll have a big interview dropping on Monday, and I'm cooking up something else for next week while I'm out, and then I'll be back for the first preseason game of the regular season. We'll be live reacting to that. All right, so it's a new season, it's a new day. The sun has risen again, so let's hope it shines bright and we're not sitting here dealing with a dark, dreary, day out with a storm brewing in the horizon, and that being a total shakeup of everything from the front office to the team. But we'll find out. Do you think Miami is hoping for Tyreek to have an amazing year in order for us to make a play for Jeremiah Smith? I think so. Boost stock for trade. Man, I don't think Jeremiah Smith is coming out this year. He's coming out in the following draft. And I've said this. Everyone talking about tank for Arch in 2 years when he comes out. No, I would rather Jeremiah Smith is the guy who I'd tank for. Give me the best receiving prospect I've seen since, man, geez, I don't know, like Julio Jones at Bama, maybe. So, anyways, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. We'll be back tomorrow. The Miami Dolphins will be back to practice, and we will cover it all. Hopefully, we get some good news on the injury front. Fins up all day, every day. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.